Hi, good morning. Welcome to another Thursday Live with Katie. What do we have in store today? Well, before I get started, I wanted to make a few announcements. First of all, it's December, and if you're anything like me over the holidays, you tend to buy yourself just as many gifts as you buy other people because you're in the buying spirit, and why not? And nobody else is going to buy me these boots on sale, so I might as well buy them for me. So I just wanted to remind you that my book makes a wonderful holiday gift. I would say the two things that people say the most to me after they've read my book, or even just some of my blog posts, is number one, oh my God, this is my story. How are you in my head? And the other thing that people say the most is, I know about 20 people who desperately need to read this book. So it's not the easiest gift to just give to somebody, because there is a tendency to be like, I think you look like you're having a really hard time with dieting. But it's also a really important message to get out there. So I just wanted to remind you, it makes a wonderful gift. Head on over to Amazon and get one for yourself too. Get one for your friends, some nice stocking stuffers. So that's my little plug for my book today. The other thing I wanted to bring up is, I talked about this I think a week or two ago, but I am still working on my January course called Find Your Body Freedom, Food and Body Freedom, and I'm really excited about it. And it's basically a self-led 6-week companion course to the book, where each week you'll be going a little bit more in depth to each of the 6 steps that I talk about in the book, and asking yourself some questions and doing some activities and pushing yourself to a new level in your relationship with food and with your body. So I'm really excited the course is coming together great. And if you are a subscriber to my newsletter, I'm going to be sending out an early bird promo discount only to my newsletter subscribers. So if you aren't already a subscriber to my newsletter, go quick before Tuesday and sign up. You can do it here on my Facebook page, or you can just go to worthitwithkatie.com and sign up there. So that's something else I am looking forward to. That's coming in January. So the topic I wanted to talk about today is how to feel less crappy around thin people, basically. And this all started with a trip that my husband and I took to Japan in May. And it was like trip of a lifetime, celebrating his 40th birthday. It was absolutely amazing. We left the kids with his mother and had a week to ourselves. And he was already out in Asia working. And so he was coming from Singapore to meet me in Tokyo. So I flew by myself to Tokyo and had to get from the airport to find our hotel, which was didn't end up being that big of an ordeal in the end, but I was like terrified for weeks leading up to it. So anyway, there I was in Tokyo with my husband, having a great time. And all I could think about when I was there was how I was a gigantic beast among all of these tiny little porcelain Japanese women everywhere, and men. Even on these crowded subways, I was a head taller than everybody. And the hotels that we would stay in, often they gave like these complimentary pajamas for the men and the women, along with indoor shoes and bathrobes and stuff. And in all of the hotels, not only could I not fit into the women's pajamas, but I also couldn't fit into the men's pajamas. And my husband couldn't believe it. He was like, "What? That's ridiculous. Try them on again." And I'm like, "No, actually, that's really humiliating. I don't want to try them on again, but thank you." So it was just like little moments like that throughout the trip that I was really letting get to me. And at the time, I was really frustrated that I was letting it get to me, because I was like, oh, hi, Jill. I see you. How are you? Anyway, so I was getting so frustrated with the fact that I was letting this get to me the entire time I was there. And I'm talking about my trip to Japan and how I felt like such a giant around all of these tiny people and how miserable I was. So anyway, it was really bothering me. And so I came home from the trip. But I realized that there were times when I was in like really crowded areas in Tokyo where I would see another Western traveler. And if it was a woman who was my size, I would, have this rush of so many emotions. At first, I would feel relieved that there was somebody else who looked like me. And I'd be like, oh, good, I don't feel so alone. But then I would also kind of have these moments of like, ugh, why are Western women so big and fat and lazy, and we're so ugly, and what's wrong with our society, and we eat too much and we don't exercise enough. And I would just go through this like whole long, thought process within a few seconds of, blaming her and blaming me and, what's wrong with our society these days. And then I would kind of be like, well, wait a minute, we're traveling in a foreign country. We're not lazy. We're very intelligent individuals who are accomplished, and those women have families that they love and they're doing stuff. And, why am I, hi, Louisa, I see you too. So anyway, I started to think about like how we view other people, especially other women, when we are out and about places, not even just traveling. And I started to realize like when I would be at Target or at a grocery store or, the airport, any place where there was like a lot of people, I started to notice that I would like hone in on like the thinnest woman in the room. And I would look at her and then I would be like, wow, she's got such great toned arms, or, wow, look at that butt in her jeans. Oh, if only I could look like that. And I would just get like I would only sort of really pay attention to that one woman in the room that I desperately wanted to look like, or, who looked like her life was better than mine. And then I started thinking about the fact that like, I don't look at anyone else in these crowded rooms. I don't look around at women who look like me. I don't look around at women who might be bigger than me. And why is that? Why do I not look at them? I mean, it's like we just try to make each other invisible in some strange way. So the tip that I've been, started doing since this trip to Japan, and I can't tell you how much it has changed my mindset in terms of how I view myself. Hey, Kathy. How I view myself and how I view other women around me, which is like when I catch myself doing that, say I'm in the grocery store and I see myself noticing a woman who, has that body I've always dreamed of. And I catch myself and I think, okay, now I'm going to look around at all of the other people in this grocery store. I'm going to look around at all these women. Some of them are older, some of them are younger, and look at all of the different body types and just look at them, just take a moment to realize that they are out there and that these are real people. And we are the vast majority of the people out there, and we have lives and families and careers and thoughts and feelings, and we are worthy of respect from each other and most importantly from ourselves. And I think, instead of looking around at other people and sort of just brushing each other off as like, oh, that, like these people of Walmart and, these, the way in which we kind of judge anonymous people around us as being like, oh, that person's fat and miserable, or even, not even judging them at all, not even looking, not even recognizing them. I think we do a real disservice to each other and most especially to ourselves. Hey, Brittany, nice to see you. So that is the tip that I started doing since this trip to Japan, and it has completely changed how I think of myself out in public and how I think of myself, especially in crowded areas where I might normally have felt really, really down around people who, I feel like are perfect around me. I just kind of remind myself that that's like one person in a very big crowd of others. Hey, so that is something I've been doing since May, and I can't tell you how much it has changed my mindset. So I just wanted to throw that out there and challenge you to try it yourself the next time you are out and around. And even if you're not triggered by a thin person, just sort of start looking at the people around you and stop looking at them as other dieters who are miserable with themselves. I mean, they might be. It's very likely that they are, but stop looking at other people as people who must be really uncomfortable with their bodies or really want to change, or, you know, stop going on autopilot, thinking that these people are unhappy, and really start thinking about how their lives are very full and just like yours, and see them and recognize them for who they are and acknowledge them. And that's it. I mean, like I said, it's really, really simple, but it is incredibly, incredibly transformative. So that's my quick and easy tip for not feeling like crap around thin people. And yeah, if you guys have anything to say about it or just want to share anything, I don't know. My video last week about binge eating was, I think it was interesting. It was very powerful. I had some private messages, not a lot of public messages, understandably, because it's a very stigmatized topic. But I recommend it if you haven't seen it. It's something, you know, I think it's a really important topic, and I think it's really misunderstood. So I recommend that you go and watch that if you haven't. And, you know, I had one woman who actually commented or liked on it, who shared with me that she liked it, and then it showed up on her timeline that she had liked it, and a friend of hers had mentioned something about, oh, do you have a problem? And she was really embarrassed. And I was just like, God, like, it just frustrates me that there is so much stigma and shame around all of these topics. So that's why I'm out here all by myself, waving and talking about the stuff that I feel really needs to be talked about. Because I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of the diet industry, and I'm sick and tired of how alone we are in feeling terrible about ourselves. Oh, I love that, right? You know, that, Jill, that reminds me of the fact, you know, I get really triggered by a lot of my old pictures where I am, you know, much thinner than I am now. And I look at those pictures and sometimes, and I immediately think like, oh man, I look banging. But then I immediately remember that when that photo was taken and the first time I saw that photo, I was horrified by how much weight I had gained and how fat I was, and how I, you know, immediately would look at that and think, God, you know, I really let myself go. And like, there's not a single photo of myself from that time period where, hey, Marge, hey, you know, there's not a single picture of myself from that time period where I was actually like happy. And so it's, you know, it's really interesting because I looked happy in all those pictures, but I remember so clearly thinking like every time seeing those pictures and just being like, oh man, I got to get my act together. Hey, Allie, I see you too. So it's, you know, it's funny how we see those pictures of people who look so happy, and, you know, you have no idea what they're talking about. But now, you know, now I can safely say that when I see pictures of myself, I look at myself and I'm happy, and I remember that moment, and I remember being happy in that moment, and I just don't ever think about what my body looks like. And it's, you know, it just reminds me that as long as you're looking at your body as something that needs to be changed, as something that needs to be fixed, then you are always going to find more flaws. That's just the nature of the beast. So yeah, there you are. All right, I gotta pop off, but it was great seeing you guys. Thanks everybody for watching, and yeah, comment below if you have anything to share, or any questions, or anything you want to hear about, or PM me if you don't want anyone to know that you're watching these videos. I understand, I totally get it. Yeah, have a great day, and I will see you next week. Bye.